Dun 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 dun.
Welcome back to the Completely Fucking Clueless podcast, season 2.
Woohoo!
I'm Audrey Flowers.
And I'm Sarah Alice Liddy, and we both use she, her pronouns.
Lit.
It's season 2! I cannot believe we've been doing this for a full year.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like one of the only accomplishments I kind of have post-grad.
Ooh, yeah, no, I hope you know, I feel like it's the only accomplishment I have.
Literally. Literally, especially because it's something that we did on our own. And I think doing something on your own just makes it that much more elevated.
I would say anytime I'm having a breakdown and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, I made no progress. Everyone's like, you have the podcast. And like, I'm like, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
No, I know. I forget who was texting me yesterday, but somebody was just like in a rut. And I think it can be really hard, especially like in our early 20s, to remember all the things that we're doing because you see other people doing like these grand things and you're like, I'm shit. Like, I don't, you know, but at the end of the day, if you like break down, like even to the tiniest thing, like I made my bed today, like you're doing something every day.
Yeah. Oh, I was in Nashville this past weekend.
Yes, I was going to say we haven't seen each other in like 500 years.
I know. It's been very long for us.
I know. Slay.
Slay at not seeing me?
No.
Rude.
No, I feel like it's a good to take breaks every now and again. And like when life brings up like crazy circumstances, like we should take breaks, you know?
Yes. So I was in Nashville this weekend.
Yes.
Wow, this is so we are in the studio for our first ever solo episode.
I know.
And it feels weird. I keep missing my headphones.
I know, because we'll usually wear like the headphones at Audrey's house and like we can hear ourselves like in the audio way. And also like having the camera where y'all are watching us. I'm like, who do I pay attention to?
I'm trying to ignore the camera.
All right, let's ignore the camera. Fourth wall closed.
Anyway, so I was in Nashville seeing one of my best friends since high school on the 6th tour, which like so emotional. I cried in the beginning, I cried in the middle, I cried in the end.
I bet she was so good.
She was absolutely amazing, and I'm so beyond proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so amazing, and I was so happy to get to see her. But like, it also brought up a lot of emotions of like, she's on tour with Six, and I am trying to get a minimum wage job.
Yeah. No, when you were going to Nashville and like, you know, we were talking about like scheduling things, I was like, I bet this is going to bring up a lot of shit.
Yes. I
like in the nicest way possible.
Yes, absolutely. And like, I am so proud of her and I was so, so happy for her. But like, I'm not going to lie, when I went back to our hotel room last night, because I was there with my other like best friend, Julia.
Yes. Who is a very wanted podcast guest.
Yes. Oh my God. There was a cookout right near our hotel and she tried to get Cookout. So Cookout is like a drive-through fast food chain that's like a southern chain that was huge at Elon.
Huge
where
drunk
we would
food.
always go after parties. We wouldn't drive there, but what people would do is you would have your Uber drive you through it.
It's so funny because like the concept of like having an Uber in New York like take me through a drive-through is so like crazy, so foreign. I would never spend that money, but like you're in the middle of North Carolina, so it's not that much money, especially if you're splitting it between like so many people.
And the food you're getting is dirt cheap.
Oh yeah, the food for like a box of food, y'all. And let me say, like I would get like the corn, like 2 corn dogs, chicken nuggets, fries, a milkshake. Like it was legit.
I loved my Cajun fries, and I love M&M. I love M&M cookies. I love M&M milkshakes. I love M&Ms and things.
The M&M milkshake was so good, and it was like maybe $7 max, which is sketchy, but like who cares?
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's better than McDonald's by far.
I don't know. I would have to like taste test them like again.
And
like
I don't really eat McDonald's because I can't.
Yeah, I was like, you can't.
I'm reading this from from Julia. Told me she liked McDonald's.
Okay.
So I did claim it as my own opinion, but it was Julia's. Anyway, she tried to get Cookout and she couldn't. And I had to bring that up. Wow, I'm getting way off top. But anyway, so after seeing the show, we went out and got drinks with my friend, and she had a bunch of family in town and her boyfriend in town who I know pretty well. And we all went out to drinks because I was also there with Julia's mom and sister. It was supposed to be a mother-daughter trip, but my mom wasn't able to go with everything, obviously. So it was a mother-daughter trip plus me.
I love it. I know. Well, your hotel room looked gorgeous.
So gorgeous. We like went so many cute places. I had some of the best Indian food I've ever had.
You have to keep it fresh in your mind and write the recs down because Olivia and I have been talking about going to Nashville.
I absolutely will. But when we like, and I like had a good time chatting with everyone, but like
Mhm.
when we got back to the hotel room that night, like I really wasn't chatty and I just wanted to go to bed. And Julia was like, "Do you want to talk about it or not?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"I don't want to talk about it, like, because it makes me feel like a shitty person for like having my own feelings about it."
Yeah, I
And
feel
I
like
know that's understandable, but like,
yeah.
yeah, no, I was so happy and so proud and so excited to see her. But like, it very much brought up like, mm,
A lot of feelings.
yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, I'm actually going to see a show this weekend. I'm going to see Kimberly
Oh yes,
Akimbo.
yes. You'll have to let me know what it is.
Yeah, Olivia got me tickets for my birthday. Very nice of them. Love you, babe. Um, and I'm excited to go see it because literally the only two shows I've seen since like graduating college
Mhm.
was when we went to go see Wicked, and I've now seen Funny Girl twice. So, and I feel like I need something else besides Funny Girl. Like, I just need
One of
something
my
else.
goals this year was to see a show every month, and so far I have not succeeded at that at all.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to see. Like, I
I
really
know.
want to see Parade. I really want to see Sweeney
Parade was
Todd.
amazing, and I
Yeah.
would say, like, I have a huge soft spot for Parade, so, like, my audition weekend at Elon, which is where we went to college together,
Mhm.
the weekend that I went to the school to audition, their fall show was Parade, and that was the
Yes.
first time I ever saw it. I didn't really know anything about it, and then our junior year, we do these MT literature projects where you do this
Yes.
crazy long analysis of a show, and my show was Parade.
Yeah. This the semester that I left school for treatment, I sang what is it? Do you know this man? Da, da,
You
da,
don't
da,
know
da.
this man.
There we go. I like learned it for like 2 seconds and then it left my brain, but I feel like I've been hearing so many great things about it, and it
It's a
just
beautiful
looks
show.
yeah, it looks like a powerful show, and I actually like somebody from Elon that was in the acting program is in
Yes,
it.
she's
And
Bear
then
Swing.
yes, and then somebody that I worked with one summer is in it as well.
Oh,
We're not
cool.
super close, but, like, I'd love to, like, go and see it.
I ended up seeing it with, like, a friend's friend because I took a friend's ticket who couldn't go see it.
Yeah.
And it was with, like, the friend's friend didn't really know theater and did not know the show at all. And they really thought that the plot twist was, like, gonna be or it's like, they thought that Ben Platt, who's the lead,
Yes.
was guilty.
Oh.
And I was like
Oh, no, no, no,
I
no,
was like
no.
and we spoke about it in intermission, I was like, "No." And she was
No.
like, "No, but I think in I don't even remember." I was, like, so infuriated because I was like, "No." And she was like, I'm not saying in the show, I'm saying in, like, reality. I don't know, it kinda seems like he did it." And I was like, "No." I was like I know the actual, like, from doing this project and, like, going into the history, the actual evidence of, like, there is pretty concrete evidence, like, was not
Not
him.
him. No, no, no. No, not
Or I forget if
him.
she was saying in real life she thinks or, like, in the show. She thinks, like, the guy in the show because I think
I don't honestly, I do not know the storyline, like, literally whatsoever.
he's, like, very nervous
But I
and,
know,
like,
like
skittish, and I think she took that energy as, like, guilty energy.
got it.
And I was like, "No."
No. No, sweetie. No, no,
I was like,
no.
"No."
Wow, that really Ben Platt plays those types of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do. I wanna go see it. And it's funny because I feel like there hasn't been stuff on Broadway for a while that I've been, like, interested in seeing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel you. I definitely sometimes I don't know. I feel like I am pretty solid in the fact that, like, I do not want to do, like, any sort of theater outside of the New England, New York area.
Mm.
Like, I love my life in New York too much to be like, I'm just gonna go to the bumblefuck middle of nowhere and make $200 a week, which is a real reality of like pursuing theater. And then I also know that it's very unrealistic to be like, I'm gonna be on Broadway, like, you know?
Yes,
So I'm just
you don't
kind
get
of
to skip those middle steps.
no. I'm taking some voice lessons this spring. Um, but yeah, I feel like since we've seen each other, I've been feeling like I know like I'm doing things. Like it's like not that I'm not doing things. Like I have a part-time job. We do the podcast. Like I make videos on my TikTok account. Like, you know, I'm doing things. But like sometimes it just feels like where is it all going?
Yeah.
And I think it's hard because in like my rational mind, I know like being a young 20 something, usually it takes a lot of years, especially if you're trying to build something on your own for it to come into fruition. Like I look at a lot of the people that I like admire, and it took them like a really long time to get to where they are. But like then there's the emotional part of my brain that's like, can we just like speed this up?
Mhm.
Like I'd love to like move out of my house. Like I'd love to like feel like an adult. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, especially because I'm turning 25 next week.
That's crazy.
I know. It's
Because you turning 25 means I'm
you're
turning
next.
25.
I know, which means Olivia's turning 26, which means they're gonna get kicked off the
Ancient.
I know. Kicked off the health
Yeah, no,
insurance is
I'm
where I'm
genuinely really
thinking.
stressed.
We'll cut the and we're gonna stress out everybody
really,
else.
yeah, sorry. I'm really stressed about that. I really need to go to all the doctors in the next year.
I know. Well,
Get
guess
my
what?
shit wrapped.
I am going to 3 doctor's appointments on Friday.
Amazing.
3. I was like, bang, bang, bada, boom.
I'm also like, oh, what happens with like I would have to pay full cost for? Well, I'll go on like whatever. It's not Medicare or Medicaid.
I don't know.
I'll go on New York State health insurance.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh God, is the price of like the prescriptions that I need to take gonna skyrocket?
We love adulting, everybody. But that's why we're here, to talk about it, be real about it, emote about it.
Hashtag be real.
Be real. I know, but I actually went away this weekend.
Yes.
I was inspired.
No, I didn't know you were. And then I saw your little getaway blog.
Yes. I know. Olivia and I had like talked about it, and then they had a really big project for school, so we were like, we don't really know if we're gonna end up going. But then I was like, I want to get the fuck out of here, so we're going. No, I was like, are you okay enough that we can like leave? And it was gorgeous. Their
Yeah.
parents have a home like in Connecticut,
Nice.
and it was Olivia's mom is like such a great interior designer, and so she like designed the home. It was so pretty. I was like, whoa. And it like snowed a little, so
I still haven't seen snow this season.
but it snowed yesterday.
Not in New York.
Wait, it snowed where I live.
Yeah, but
But not in
city's
this-
hotter. Yeah. Oftentimes we haven't gotten snow.
Oh
like,
my
in Manhattan.
gosh.
Unless we got it this past weekend, we haven't gotten snow that has stuck.
Oh my gosh, no. The other day, literally, was it last night? No, Monday night, maybe it was. Olivia literally, like, their power went out.
Nope.
Oh my God. Wait, that's so
Look,
crazy.
there's so many more people in buildings together. It's hotter.
True.
It's hotter.
Wow. This is crazy. Weather is crazy. Before we get into our topic of the day, do you have any clueless moments of the week?
Yes.
Slay.
I've got 2.
I have 1.
Okay. Let's bookend.
Okay, so I'll go? No, you
go
go,
and then
I go, you go. Guys, I'm great at math. Okay, go for it.
I don't know how that's math, but okay. My little cute one. I mean, not cute, but little one. I go through so much Drano because
Oh, Drano.
Okay. My shower, no matter what I do, always collects water in the bottom. And it gets worse when I don't use Drano for a while, but I'm so careful to try and make sure I don't have hair go down the drain. And I use Drano and I do all the things. And it still, even at its best, always collects some water in the bottom while I'm showering.
Yeah.
I'm standing in a little bit of water. And then even when I put the Drano through, it still doesn't fix it. And then I'm trying to be so careful about not letting my hair, like I collect all of my hair. I wad it up in a little ball. I stick it on the wall and take it after my shower.
Wow, that's really attentive. I just let that shit go.
And it still will the water gets a little higher every time I shower.
Ugh,
What the fuck?
that's really annoying. I know. I hate when that happens. I literally hate it. It's like, and then you're sitting like in this pool of like dirty water, and you're like, what is the purpose of this? I'm trying to clean myself.
My only theory is that I have really good water pressure, so maybe it's just more water comes out and the drain can't keep up.
I don't know.
You're
A plumber.
A plumber, not plunger.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know.
Let us know in the comments what to do
Fine.
about this.
Plumber. That's how plumbers do things, right?
With their ass crack out.
Yeah.
Yeah. My clueless moment is really stupid. I just can like keep forgetting to put on primer when I'm doing my makeup. Like, I don't know what is wrong with me.
The TSA stole my fucking primer, and I know it was bigger than allowed, but I'm sorry. It makes me so mad because essentially most of what they do is bullshit security theater. I'm taking a hard stance on this, but it's because I am right. It's bullshit security theater. Most of the time, they don't catch things when they've done tests. It is dumb that a brand new bottle of fucking primer. And so I went to go and do my makeup this morning and I was like
I don't have any primer. No, I don't know
and
why.
I was literally so pissed. I know that I was breaking the rule, but it's a dumb rule.
Wait, was it the milk primer?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's
and
what I
I've
use.
brought it through security so many times before and they've never cared. And this line was pulling fucking everyone's bags out. And I was like,
Ew.
let it go. You don't do anything.
Let it go. Ew, that's
Sorry to anyone who works for the TSA, but
couldn't you just like squirt it out and like test it? No.
No.
Nobody's got time for that shit. No, I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess because I've been putting on, what's it called? Sunscreen now a lot more before, but I just keep forgetting to put it on.
I was really good at this for a while, and then I kind of fell off. But I did not fact just at all. I didn't read this. I saw it on TikTok.
Of course.
Let me rephrase this. That in Japan, maybe, people will just put on primer even when they don't put on makeup because it's meant to be like a protective layer over your skin.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I was really good at doing that for a while, and I think it helped.
Okay, maybe I'll start to do that so I can like
do
get it back on
sunscreen
the
and then
brain.
primer,
Yeah, I don't know. I have like a very specific makeup routine. I always really do my makeup the same way, but I just keep forgetting it. I feel like an idiot. I'm like filming like my makeup routine and then all of a sudden I'll be like, fuck, like I already have half my foundation on and there's no primer and then I'll just like start dousing my face in setting spray to like maybe help. I don't know.
I don't know how it works.
Yeah. All right, what's your next clueless moment?
My bigger clueless moment. Okay, so I haven't really spoken about this on the pod yet. Or like we have previously, but not recently. So I'm getting back into theater acting a bit.
Slay.
And I haven't really wanted to talk about it because
it's scary.
It's scary and like I'm not really sure I'll succeed and like there's a big uphill climb. Like I haven't really been training for the past like year, honestly, even kind of 2 years since we graduated. And I'm like out of practice. I'm behind. Like my headshots have my hair. If you're watching the video, my hair is like this length in my headshots, and my hair is now this length.
Are not cute.
It's like, do you have a good sense of how long things are? How long?
No, because remember I said something was like like a foot, and you were like, what?
I asked her to do a couple inches, and she did like fully a foot, and I was like, do you know what an inch is? And she was like, what's an inch? And I'm like, about the size of your thumb.
Well, now I know. There you go. This is 1 inch. Yeah, that's at least like 4 or 5 inches then.
Yeah, it's a lot of inches.
Yeah.
Like it was above my shoulder. It's now midway my boob.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of money to be spent because doing this shit is expensive. But I'm back in voice lessons and I'm really trying to like be really focused with my PT stuff and getting back into the gym so I can go back to dancing and dance classes.
Yeah.
And I'm working on finding an acting class and I'm not getting coffee. I'm doing virtual coffee date with one of our teachers from Elon.
Oh, cool.
For sort of like advice of like, how do I restart?
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels really scary and I like feel really torn in a lot of ways. Because it feels like a huge fucking risk and I still don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like I've not really made progress in any fronts in my life, but
I think just
making
going
the decision,
is the better
a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it feels scary having made that decision.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel like I can relate to this. Like my boss at my internship, like we'll have like some like catch up chats like every couple of weeks and he'll always be like, so like what do you want to do in social media? And I don't know how to tell him like I want to be a content creator.
Yeah.
Like I want to do that full time. Like as much as like I love the environment and like my coworkers are so nice and amazing, I'm like I don't want to be working here. Like I want to be my own fucking boss. Like the other day I was in the car with Olivia and I was like I'm really not meant to work. Like I'm not meant to work for somebody else. Like I really want to be my own boss. And because like performing has always been more in like in the way the theater way, like I don't really know how to like navigate this new thing. So it's sometimes like hard to say like the things that you do want because it's like what if I like declare this, and especially like us we put it on a podcast.
Claiming it means you can lose
right,
it or
right. And then like also people can like hear you talk about it and then like kind of size you up to like things. So yeah, I know being like trying to decide what you want to do is like so confusing.
And then like actually trying for it. I mean, like again, we've spoken about before, but like I was talking to, so I had therapy yesterday and like there's been a lot going on, like even just work stuff or then like family stuff as I've spoken about. Like
yeah.
I was like talking to my therapist and she's like, this is what you're used to and what you are comfortable with. And as much as like being happy and like fulfilled and whatnot sounds like the obvious thing of like what everyone wants.
Mm.
It's unfamiliar and uncomfortable, and like it's yeah,
It's
it's hard to
confusing.
try and like to put yourself at that risk.
Yeah. No, it's confusing because I know, like, I'll have moments where, like, now it's been basically a year since I decided to, like, take an indefinite break from theater,
Mhm.
and I think it can be really confusing when you spend your life, like, doing something and then, you decide to, like, take a break from it because it's not, like, working with you, and I know something that I have, like, trouble with is, like, I don't really, like, think about it a lot and think about going back to it, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, this is so weird." Like, and is that really true? Or, like, I don't know. It's just, like, such a weird thing to figure out.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know what? I was watching, and I will continue to push this, like, theory home, but I was watching Patrick Ta. He recently did Alex Earl's makeup, and I'm not sure if he just, like, made a TikTok all of a sudden or I decided to follow him from that experience, but he made this, like, Get Ready With Me where he was sort of talking about, like, kind of how he got to where he is. He never made a part 2. So Patrick, if you're watching this, I'd love a part 2 because you stopped at a certain point. I was going to part 2, which is important in the TikTok world. But like he was talking about like he dropped out of high school at 16. He like moved across the country. He owned his own like nail salon for a couple years. He like literally convinced his parents to like help him open a nail salon. I was like, whoa, that's fucking crazy. It didn't go as planned. And then like, he was like lost and did some other things and then like finally found makeup.
Mhm.
But sometimes I think it just takes a second to like get to the
Yeah.
thing. Slay.
But yeah, so this is my formal announcement, but not that formal because it's gonna be a slow process. I probably won't really start auditioning for another couple months, but
That's okay.
feels very scary. I'm smiling cringely at the camera.
I know. We're like 20s. It's super scary. It really is though. But today we are going to talk about something that's been so great about our 20s. This podcast.
So this is our first episode of the new season. If you
Yes.
didn't pick that up by
Yes, this
the
is the
announcement at the start.
I know. And we just kind of wanted to reflect on the year.
Yeah.
Also just like send advice to anybody who like wants to start some sort of project on their own. Especially like if you are feeling really confused about like career stuff. I know like it was always like once this like started last February or March, I was like, "Oh, like even if I'm feeling like uncertain in like a formal career, like I have some sort of
Something that
thing."
we're creating and building upon.
Yeah, and it feels nice to have something that's, like, kinda concrete in your
Yes.
life. But what do you feel like you've learned in the past year?
That maybe I have something worth saying.
Say. That's good.
Like I've always been a very talkative person, but I'm gonna be honest, like I never like my family is the type of family that talks over a lot, and like
Sure.
my mom is the biggest, no offense mom, but talks over everyone to the point where like it's a running gag that I will say this all the time in my family, and everyone in our family says it like, I'm sorry, did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?
My dad does the same thing.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I also do it.
Yeah, me too.
But I felt like I talked a lot and no one really, I felt like, particularly cared what I had to say, or that nothing I really was saying was worth listening to.
Mm.
And this and some people enjoying this, which is still flabbergasting to me,
Yeah.
has made me challenge the idea of like maybe something I'm saying is worth something.
Yeah. I think also, like, there are so many amazing podcasts out there. I am a huge consumer of podcasts. But now that these podcasts have gotten to like a certain success level, it does take some of the relatability. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human beings with human problems. And if you really break them down to your core, like they are the same things. But a lot of the podcasts I listen to are people who are like influencers or content creators or very big time podcasters who make $60 million on their podcast. And so it does take like some of that relatability
We
away.
do not make $60 million on this podcast. We,
No.
in fact, make negative money. We spend money.
We do, which happens when you're starting a business. But if somebody does want to pay us $60 million, I am not opposed to
My dad
it.
constantly is like, you just need to get Sephora to sponsor you. And I'm like, yeah, they don't really do that.
That is so
They
funny.
don't need it.
No, Sephora does not need it. Sephora knows that they are taking everybody's money every day.
Except for the Ulta girls.
Oh, see, I'm not an Ulta girl personally.
I never was an Ulta girl. There wasn't an Ulta near me.
Yeah,
So
no, me either.
And I'm now way too invested in Sephora.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would go to Ulta for.
I went to Ulta like twice in college because there wasn't a Sephora really near us.
Yes, there was an Ulta near us, and I would go there sometimes. But anyways, yeah, so I feel like sometimes it's nice, like, because it's like a niche little part of the internet that we've created.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have learned to like just like Nike would say, just do it. Like just go, like if there's something that you
that's very fair.
if there's something that you want to do it. Like I remember when I found like the idea of content creators and influencers like my freshman year of college is when I started really watching YouTube and listening to podcasts, and it was always something I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And then luckily graduating gave both of us the time to like invest in it. But if there's something that you want to do and you're afraid of people judging, or you're just afraid what will happen, like my greatest advice would be like, just do it and try it.
I found I very often was like waiting for X to do Y.
Yes.
And like, but it then like would feed into a circle where I was waiting for this to do that and this to do that and this to do that. And then would feed in a circle. So I'd never do any of them. And then I would feel increasingly worse that I'm not doing any of them. So just pick one that you can start on now
and
do
just
it. Start it.
I talk about that in therapy all of the time, like especially with theater. I felt like with theater, I always felt like there was another step of preparation. So it was like, okay, I can't audition until my website's done. I can't do my website until I have amazing headshots. Like I can't go into the room until I have like the best music possible to sing. So I definitely felt that, like, and I was doing that for so long, like the prep stage.
And I do it even with like my like apartment when I like need to clean. It's
yeah.
Like, well, I don't want to do that until that. Or like even when it's like, oh, but I can't shower until I've cleaned, and I can't clean until I've blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
do it.
Just start
somewhere.
Start something. Just anything.
Because it will trickle.
You also will feel infinitely better about yourself from having done whatever small thing it is.
No, true. I know this is so revolutionary, but I've been writing things down these days. And like I got this like really big Post-it note from the Container Store.
I love them. They're so cute.
I know. I have it in my bag right now, and I've just started like carrying it around with me. For me personally, a very formal planner has never really worked for me. I feel like I'll be like, oh, this space is too small, or like whatever. So like with this sticky note thing, like I can just like have the whole page. And I feel like it's been helping me like check things off of my to-do list like so much more. And I know it's like such a common knowledge thing. Like you should write things down, but sometimes things take time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so good with my planners in high school, and then I just really fell off in college.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know about you, but like my high school would give us a planner. Like every year.
In middle school, but not in high school.
Like all throughout my
my planners
younger
were
years.
So intense. I don't know if have I ever shown you the video?
Yes, the one of you submitting it to Elon.
So Elon, you had a wild card video that could be a minute of whatever you wanted, and mine was a minute long video showing the evolution of my planner.
Mine was so cringy. I like told the story of like my gap year to piano music.
I don't think that's cringy. I was told by so many teachers, they're like, the number of people we have just straight up do like impressions that someone else invented, like Miranda sings or something, and it's like, no, tell us something about
yourself.
You.
Sure, yeah. Wow, crazy. What is the best, or like some of the best things about having the podcast this year?
This is like kind of silly, but having something to turn up to every single week, and like having something that like even when I feel absolute shit about my life, is something like we have made this and created something, even if it's small, like it is something we have done,
Mhm.
has been like this podcast has been I know this might sound kind of silly, but like such a life raft for me like this
No,
year. Like
same.
I have felt so infinitely lost and had like so many very, very like dark times, like headspace wise.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how much harder and how much more lost I would have felt without this keeping me grounded and like every week and like having someone else I'm showing up for.
Yeah.
Like having like every week the episode needs to get done and it needs to get put up. And like some weeks that was easier than other, but like it truly was a life raft.
No, I 100% feel that because I feel like the first so we released this last March, so it was probably a little over, like, somewhere between 6 to 8 months that we had graduated,
Mhm.
and I had, like, a babysitting job, but it just felt and I purposely took that job because as an artist, like, you do want availability during your days to audition and things like that, but it did feel so, like, empty, and, like, on the days where I had nothing going on, I was just, like, sitting in my bed, like, twiddling my thumbs, and so having this, yeah, it does, like, give you something. I feel like that's such, like, a huge thing about, like, post-grad that people don't talk about is that if you're not going, like, immediately to a 9 to 5, even if you get it, like, 6 months down the road, I think a lot of people end up feeling really lost because there is more time available to you than you've ever had in your entire life.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I feel like for me, because for me personally, like I was really struggling mental health wise at school. So I feel like for like a couple years at this point, like I had felt really like dead, like passion wise.
Yeah.
And so I feel like starting the podcast, like showing up to it every week, thinking of things to talk about, like meeting people, all these things like kind of alivened the passion in me again for something which feels like, it feels so great when there's something that you're passionate about and that you want to succeed and you want to put your work into. So I feel like that was something. And then also, I just feel like all my life, like all I had been known for was theater.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know if I could do anything else or if I had any other talents. And I'm not sure that talking is like a talent, but I do like to talk a lot. And so it was just like nice to feel like, if I were to go back to theater one day and somebody was like, so what have you done all this time?
Yes.
To be like, oh, like I have a lot of things that I've done. Like I haven't just sat here and I've done nothing.
Yes.
Because I saw at Elon how that went over and it didn't go over well.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's amazing to have something to like put your love into. Like love is not like a supply that runs out. Like I truly believe the more you give, the more you have. And like when you have nothing to give your love and your heart and your like energy to, like
it just feels
it doesn't bloom. Like
no, I know. There's somebody in my life right now that like is kind of going through the same thing where it's like, there's not much like going on and it does. I think because our world or at least the US is so like work oriented, when you don't have something like work wise taking up so much of your time, it just feels very empty and you feel very much like a failure.
Yeah.
So it can be really hard, but yeah, I'm happy that this podcast filled in those empty spaces and continues to.
Live, laugh, love.
Because I don't want a full-time job. Holler. But I may need one because money's a thing. What is some of the biggest challenges you had with the podcast over the year?
I think like most broadscaping one that like I still continue with is like the cringe factor.
See, I do not give a fucking shit about being cringy.
So okay, not about on the podcast.
Okay.
But about like promoting it or like when my
Sure.
family talks about it
Sure.
and like having to I think it's part of it is not even cringe, it's like self-promotion is uncomfortable.
It is. It is.
And so like when I'm meeting new people and my friends will be hyping it up, I like get very awkward.
No, same. When I meet new people, I don't have a problem like hyping it up to like my friends in
Yeah.
person or like honestly on social media. Like I'm sort of like blind to it a little bit now. I'm just like whatever, I don't care. But when I meet new people and they ask like, so what are you doing? Like what are you up to? And I tell them I'm like, this is a little cringe.
And I also think because it has become like such a gag of like even more like this has already been a joke for several years, but even more so now, like how every bitch has a podcast.
Everyone has a podcast.
Every bitch has a podcast.
It's almost like having an Instagram these days.
Literally. And like the number of like overheard in New York things that I've seen about people having podcasts and like
Oh shit.
and so just like God. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's hard too, like when, again, our world is so like success oriented. So having
immediately people are like, so are you making money from it?
Right.
And I'm like, we're working on it.
It's funny because I was literally just listening to an episode of The Toast and they were talking about this, how even at their success, they still feel very uncomfortable when people they don't know ask them about like what they do because they are at a point where they're making their full-time income from podcasting. So people, and whether you're at that level or our level, people do, the follow-up question is, so how are you making money? Like, or like, so that's
like
your side
like,
gig.
what is it about? And I'm like, it's about us not knowing what we're doing.
I know. And people are like, oh, great.
Like,
it is. It can be like really hard to bring it up to people that you don't know. But I'm trying something that I'm trying to do like in the next year of my life for 25 is continue to be a little like I just don't give a fuck what you think, because I do think that especially like in the content creation space, I think that is better.
I just do hate that TikTok more and more is pushing you to people in your contacts and people you know, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah, people definitely
don't show me to people I know. I don't want people I know to see me.
You know what I think like the cringiest thing that I keep thinking about like on my TikTok now versus like real life was that when Olivia and I had taken some time apart, I made like this TikTok about being like broken up and like feeling like all those feelings. And now we're like very much back together and very happy. And I'm like, this is so funny that like if you scroll down on my TikTok, like you can see this. But yeah, I think the internet and social media is just like so funny.
It is.
Like last night, this is going off topic, but last night I was scrolling TikTok and sure, like I have my moments where I'm not feeling amazing, but for like general reasons, like I'm doing pretty good. And all of a sudden I just kept getting served these really sad TikToks. It was just like so sad. And I was like, wait, am I depressed? Like I just had this moment where I was like, wait, am I okay? Because like TikTok kind of feeds you what you're giving it.
I would say like I've noticed more and more the TikTok algorithm recently like will radically change off of liking one thing.
Oh, it's so true, because the other day I saw a vlog about this adorable golden retriever puppy living in New York City, and it was like you using one of the funny voices, and it was like, welcome to a day in my life. I liked one. My whole feed was that. And then I kept liking them because they're so entertaining.
I've gotten so many videos of people making different focaccias. But I like every single one of them because they all look amazing.
Oh my gosh. This weekend I had this like I don't know what it is about whipped ricotta, but I'm so into it right now.
I'm so hungry right now.
Oh, I shoved a slice of pizza down my throat on the way out because of course I was running a little bit late. And my dad was like, do you want this slice of pizza? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to shove it in my face right now because I will be starving.
I know. I should have ate before my makeup, but then I did my makeup and my lips and I was like, or I should have ate more. But then I was like, I'm going to fuck it up if I try and eat right now. So we're just going to live with it and we're going to eat after this.
Because it's important to eat. Ding. I said like, yeah, one of the hardest parts of having the podcast is consistency.
Yeah.
But it's something that I knew was going to be hard because from very early stages of us like planning, when I would read things about having a podcast, like most people would be like, make it to 50 episodes.
I think like the biggest thing that helps with that is that like if it was just me by myself, to be honest, I'm a shitty person to myself.
Right.
But the fact that there's another person means like, oh, I'd be letting down and failing another person, and that That I don't wanna do.
No, 100%. I think it's easier when you do have somebody else outside yourself to be accountable to, or just like an outside force to be accountable to. Because I agree. I'm like, if I were doing this by myself, sort of like how I take videos by myself, if I'm like, I'm not feeling this, or I got too busy today, like it's very easy to just like not do it. But yeah, the consistency part of it is hard. This will be our 49th episode, so we've only almost made it to the 50 mark,
So close.
which is so crazy.
I'm now just
the
making
pause.
photos in the guys, sorry. You gotta watch the video.
Yeah, the video, we keep like making pauses and looking at ourselves because basically if you're not watching this,
Giant monitor
there's
of
this
us.
huge monitor.
It's really if you actually want to see what it looks like, I'm either going to post a photo of us in the monitor on either our CFC account or my personal account.
Yeah.
So go look at one of those accounts if you want to see the setup.
But it's basically that phenomenon because I know like I do this all the time and I'm like actively trying really hard right now not to do it. It's like when there's a mirror in front of you and like there's a person like sitting in front of it and like you keep looking at yourself in the mirror.
No, it's horrible. If I go to a restaurant that has a mirror, I'll catch myself the whole time just like
slay
posing. Which is why my mom calls me a little poser.
Yes, little poser. I think another thing that was kind of hard about like the podcast was like social media aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because basically in our first month on TikTok, we like gained 10,000 followers, which we were not expecting like whatsoever. Like, especially because I had my first TikTok was a lot of main thing about theater things. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want this to like be my brand. So I started another one and wasn't really posting on it. So I was just like shooketh when that happened. And then we plateaued for a while.
And then we grew again.
Right. And then we shot up. And right now we haven't posted on TikTok in like 2 months, which is fine. Like, I'm like, you know what? Like, if it's not, like, I don't want to force something, you know? And also I think TikTok has changed like so much over the last year. When we started, like those trending sounds were popular and it was so much easier with 2 people just to make those trending sounds. Like we would spend like 2 hours, we could like batch like 20 of those sounds and like I would have everything to post for the week. But now TikTok really isn't pushing that and a lot of the content is like talking to the camera and that's just harder when we do not live together. Like, you know, we have separate schedules.
We're posting a ton of content and I think like it was good for us to take a break, particularly with like we had like the big season 2 photo shoot.
Yes.
Like, also required a lot of its own work. So I think it was good for us to like take a pause.
Yeah, I think it happens. So what would be your advice to anybody that's starting a podcast or an online presence, I said in my notes?
My first would be similar as we talked about. Just do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Just do it. And secondly, and the thing that I struggle with the most is like don't try and emulate others. Like it's okay to take inspiration, but like there's already like an Anna Star and what's another person on TikTok?
If I'm thinking like about podcasts, like specifically ones that I listen to, like the Toast, like Gals on the Go, Giggly Squad.
There's already a JC Marie Smith.
Right.
Like, don't try and be someone else. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I said in my notes, like, put your uniqueness into it.
Yeah, like my TikToks that have done the best are the ones about me being really pale and trying self-taminer.
Taminer.
I can speak English. This is why my teacher in college told me that I should take a public speaking class, which felt very hurtful considering that essentially was what our whole major was. But whatever. I'm definitely still not mad about it.
Definitely not holding that grudge.
Definitely not at all. And my other most popular one is a TikTok I made about Minion tampons.
I know. I always said that to you, that you do really well at, what did I call it? Like the shit posting kind of in a way, like having like these really like original random thoughts, but like a lot of people like relate to them and find them funny.
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos. Sure.
But yeah, just like, and it's very difficult to be authentic online. But do your best and like just do it. And like,
and I think
you need to be having fun with it too.
Right.
Like, people can tell if like
you're miserable.
Like you I know that we kind of are doing this, but like, you can't really be doing it with like the goal of going viral because like that's not gonna work. You're gonna be chasing something and like there was a comedian who said something like this, like,
Mm.
if you're trying to, like, chase the joke and be what the
Mm.
audience wants,
You're
they're never gonna like it.
It's almost like in theater when you're trying to be what that person wants
Yeah.
behind the table, you're not giving them you, which at the end of the
Yes.
day is like kind of the prize. I feel like honestly that's been a huge challenge for me over the year, especially as the person that's like posting things to social media. Like, you know, I'm looking at numbers and all these things, and I feel like in the last like couple months I've been really trying to like let that one go. Even like with myself, I'm just like at the end of the day, if the making of the content is actually like what makes me very excited and happy, like if one person sees it, great. If 1,000 people see it, amazing. But I agree. I think putting your own like uniqueness into it, and I think people will see that because I know for me, whenever somebody is like, "Oh my god, who does your Instagram?" and I'm like, "It's us." Like we come up with the ideas. It makes me really happy because I'm like, okay, like we are. It's showing.
As us.
Yeah. And just like it's your corner of the internet.
Yeah.
Like it's nobody
Your
else's.
little piece of the world.
Do what you want with it. And again, fuck what other people have to think about it.
But that's much easier said than done.
Oh,
I still very
100%.
much get self-conscious of, like, when it shows, like, profile viewed by that person from high school that you didn't really know, but you always looked up to.
Oh, really? I do not look at who views my profile.
I don't look at it, but it'll come up and I can see the first few names.
Oh, really?
I
Fuck.
hate it.
I don't know if I know that or can see. Wait, on TikTok or Instagram?
TikTok.
Oh my god, wait, I don't know.
It'll just show me like people, and like I don't click into it, but it shows me the first like 3 names.
Why don't I can
Well,
see this.
it's better.
You know what?
I
I'm going
hate
to
it.
yeah, I'm going to
I
not
hate
because
it.
literally when I post on TikTok, like I just forget anybody exists. Like I really am just
Yeah.
like forget about it. I think another thing that I would like to like kind of more like stay consistent, like if you can stay consistent, like I think we both know how to honor when we're not like when we're really not feeling good or there's something going on in life, and like also scheduling in breaks is very helpful, like around Christmas, something in the summer. We just like did a break this week before the second year, like I was gonna say anniversary. I don't know why I keep saying anniversaries. Celebration, season 2. Another thing is like if you have the money, invest in the equipment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because especially if it's a podcast more than like anything else, having our mics and like we have a Zoom H6,
Huge difference.
it's made a huge difference. And I think it also makes you like excited. It sounds like a podcast.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck. So that would be my like advice there.
Yeah, the biggest thing that we saw was that like, and I get this, like if I was listening to a podcast and it had low sound quality, like that would turn me off pretty quickly.
Right. And it has in the past. Like
Yeah.
I'll be listening to something and I'm like, even if it's like one of my favorite podcasts, I'm like, wait, I don't like this. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And like we're both very privileged that
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Most people don't.
No. And like as the year, you know, it gets expensive, especially when you're not working like full time to, you know, so pick and choose. Like we chose today was special. We're going to get a studio for us, but this is not an every week thing like it can be for some other people. What were any of your, to close it out, favorite moments of this year?
One was when we launched because people maybe this feels kind of mean to say, but people were way more supportive and excited than I expected them to
Sure,
be.
yeah.
And I feel like kind of the obvious, like the Spotify event of like meeting the other podcasters was
That was so cool. Yeah, that was such a great night.
yes. We
Yeah.
got to meet so many cool people and connections that like we're still like working on and connecting with, which is really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's another piece of advice I would say. Like, it can be really uncomfortable to reach out to people on the internet,
Gotta do it.
but like do it because you make friends from it. You also just like, yeah, you get advice, meet
Like,
people.
we've had a couple people who like are loosely pseudo sort of mentors for us.
Yeah.
Which is like very helpful when we need advice.
Yeah, especially if there's somebody that like is where you want to be. I think like I'm just in this new phase of like asking for help or asking for the things that I want when I want it, even if but again, I think we've talked about this on the podcast. Like most times out of 10 somebody is going to say yes. But yeah.
Every person every time, but
yeah.
One of them's gonna.
Yeah. And having those people who are like higher up in this field, like give advice or ask them to go get coffee or lunch and just be like, can I pick your brain? Like it's really helpful. Yeah. I loved that Spotify event. It was so fun. I said our Halloween shoot.
Oh, that one was really fun.
Especially, again, this is like an ego boost thing, but like we were on the streets of New York as Velma and Daphne, and everyone was like, yeah! Like they were loving it.
They were.
Which is not sometimes the reaction.
Not most of the time.
I know.
I'm going to be honest, the times I get complimented the most in New York on the subway, and it's only ever when I'm with my mom. So from my mom's perspective, she thinks I get complimented on my outfits all the time.
Wow. I always get complimented when I wear this like green coat I have.
I also always get complimented in my green coat or in one of my puff dresses.
Yes. It's always the green coat for me. Another thing I said was both of our shoots with Rissa.
Yes, they were absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Go on our Instagram if you want her but she's a fabulous photographer. Is that who you said? Photographer. Okay, guys, after an hour of talking, my language starts to deplete. But
deplete?
Degrade or just get weird.
I don't think either of us picked the right word, but
okay,
you know what we
great.
Mean.
But
we're great at this.
She's such a great photographer.
Yes, and she's so fun to work with. Like,
truly.
Just truly been such a blast.
Yes, and there's another thing that we still can't mention that we did like a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
That we did a month ago. That was amazing. And I really do think somewhere in the next month it will probably be coming out.
Yeah, I know we hinted about it a while ago. It is still coming. It's just we can't announce.
We can't control when it's coming. But it also has to do with somebody that's coming on the podcast at the end of this month, which is a really cool one. And we're going to ask you your questions because I think this is going to be somebody that you want 20s advice from.
Yes.
Wink. Okay, you guys. Oh, and honestly, my last one was I'll read what I wrote. Most importantly, building the CFC community. I will never be able to thank each and every one of you enough for listening to our podcast. You are helping make a huge dream come true for the both of us, and I am so grateful. Additionally, thank you to everyone who has ever DM'd us. Your messages truly mean the world. You have no idea how much it makes our day, especially when things are tough. So yeah,
that was my one other thing was every single message we've ever gotten, like in the beginning they were it was dumbfounding that people were messaging us from all over the world about it, and it's still just
so crazy.
And especially the episodes when we've talked about our mental health or
yes,
being queer, the messages I've got.
Not my iPad going off. You know what? I don't know how to turn the volume off on this thing. It will always go off. Anyways.
But I one time got a very sweet message of someone being thank you for talking very candidly about your mental health. Sometimes I feel really alone in this. And those are just lovely words to hear, but it's also I still feel very alone in it very often. And it's nice to hear oh, someone else does resonate with that. And it truly it's small, those just bring us so much joy.
I know. Last week somebody messaged us and was thank you for having a space for bisexual femme people, and I'm oh my god, that
someone
makes
I promised
me...
a singing video to who I didn't do it. I'm sorry, I'm getting to it.
A singing video promise. If you didn't know this, Audrey has promised people singing videos.
DM me
if you DM Audrey. Yes, but basically oh my god, words. Basically the main theme is we're so grateful for all of you and for anybody who listens, whether it's one episode, all of them, a couple. It really does mean the world. And thank you for following us,
and thank you to our number one fan, Nancy Purdy.
Yes, thank you, Nancy Purdy, for solely supporting this podcast.
We actually don't have multiple listeners each week. It's just she listens about 150 to 200 times.
Totally.
And so it registers.
Anyways, we're so excited to bring you guys amazing content this year. We're also, again, always open in our DMs to suggestions if you have anything you want to see from us. And yay, season 2!
And don't forget to be
motherfucking clueless.
Hey!
Slay! See you guys next week.
Also, if anyone has ever questioned have you seen how if you're not watching this will make sense, but have you seen how I'm sitting?
I know, my hips cannot open that way, so I'm sitting like this.
Anyway.